Kirby's #1 personality trait is being spherical. It's something Nintendo loves to exploit time and time again. He can be a golf ball, a pinball, and whatever kind of ball this is. And in Kirby Tilt and Tumble, he's a ball made of pure slipperiness. Kirby Tilt and Tumble was originally released on the Game Boy Color in 2000. Is it just me, or does saying the year just 2000 sound weird? I feel like I should be saying that it released in 2000. Anyway, what makes Tilt and Tumble unique is that the original Game Boy cartridge featured an accelerometer. This magical little device allows the game to sense the angle of how the Game Boy is tilted. Keep in mind, this is years before the Wii or the iPhone released, and made this kind of technology more commonplace. So to see this in a Game Boy Color game, that's pretty cool. It's always fascinating to see companies attempt a technological innovation years ahead of the curve. It's like seeing those gadgets in the 90s with touchscreens. In some cases, I don't think even the designers knew how forward-thinking they were being. How well it works is another story. Kirby Tilt and Tumble is intended to be played with the Game Boy laying flat, with the screen facing straight up, as if you really were balancing Kirby. I can't speak exactly to how well this works because I'm not playing on the Game Boy. God, what do you think I am, some kind of masochist? No. I'm playing it through the recent re-release on Nintendo Switch Online. I don't know if it's the programming for the game's controls that doesn't line up well with the gyro in the Pro Controller or what, but it's not a game that feels very good to play. First off, you have to be holding the controller completely flat, not slightly upright like you normally would. Holding a controller like this just isn't comfortable, and it feels even worse when you have to tilt it forward in order to move up on the screen. You're going to be doing this a lot because up is the primary direction you have to go to reach the end of each stage. This is the kind of complaint I feel like I'm just whining about by voicing, but give it a try yourself. I guarantee you'll come to the same conclusion. As for the controls themselves, they're rough. Feels like the slightest movement in any direction has Kirby flying around the stage. He's just so slippery. Maybe the accelerometer in the original Game Boy cartridge was better suited for this, but I don't know. Something tells me that they were biting off more than they could chew here and didn't quite nail the controls. One of the other problems with the controls is that to jump, you have to flip your controller up like you're trying to get Kirby to fly up out of the screen. This throws a huge wrench in any careful maneuvers you have to make, because in flipping the controller up, that means you're also tilting it towards you. So anytime you want to jump, you have to also anticipate that you're going to be moving backwards on the screen. I get that they really wanted to take advantage of the accelerometer controls as much as they could, but jumping really could have been done with just a button press. There's a reason that in every other game that uses a control stick or a D-pad for movement, it doesn't also use it for jump. If you want to more closely replicate the feeling of playing on a Game Boy, you could play the game in handheld mode. This does make the tilting to control Kirby make more sense, because the speed and direction he goes more closely replicates the movements that you're doing with the console. But playing like this doesn't come without its caveats. First off, jumping in handheld mode really doesn't feel good. I feel like if I'm not careful, I'm going to accidentally throw my Switch up into the ceiling. Also, playing in handheld mode, I find myself hunching over the screen to get a better view. And leaning over your Switch like you're performing open heart surgery is not the way to play video games. Video games are meant to be played relaxing on a couch, in bed, or in a $3,000 gaming chair. All of this adds up into a package that's interesting to look back on or play for a few minutes, but it doesn't have that much enjoyability beyond that. Since Kirby Tilt and Tumble released, there's been plenty of games that fill in what it set out to accomplish. If you want a game that uses motion controls in interesting ways, play Wii Sports. If you want a game focused on balancing a ball on a course, play Super Monkey Ball. If you want a game that's specifically about navigating Kirby in ball form with gyro controls, play the Tilt and Roll minigame in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But even though the execution of Kirby Tilt and Tumble was a swing and a miss, you have to applaud the developers for thinking so out of the box in the early 2000s. They might not have known at the time how widespread and useful motion controls would one day become. There's a lot to admire about those that follow through with new and innovative ideas, even if the results can be lacking. And now, Kirby Tilt and Tumble has had new life breathed into it with the Nintendo Switch Online, where it can hopefully serve as a reminder of how important it is to attempt creative ideas, no matter the risk.